So lucky about that. And it says they were sold to do mischief, right? So they were sold to the other nations to do mischief, right? And it says, Baba Kasha. And now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he fought to reign over Egypt. Okay? But he might have the dominion of 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt, and a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen and great navy. Because remember, even when this was happening, amongst the Edomites, they were what? Warring for different land. You had Seleucus that had what? Syria. After Alexander died, remember his kingdom was parted. You had Seleucus. Who else? You had Antiochus. You had Antony and Cleopatra that were reigning over Egypt at that time. These were Edomites that were reigning over Egypt. Okay? At that time. Okay? So there was war. Even Edomites, they were warring against each other. And it says, Baba Kasha, and he fought to reign over Egypt. Okay? Key thing over Egypt. But he might have the dominion of 2 realms. Okay? Wherefore he entered into Egypt in a great multitude with chariots and elephants and horsemen, and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. So now we're going to get straight to the point. Baba Kasha. Go straight to Maccabees 1 and jump straight to verse 31. And when he had taken spoils of the city, he set it on fire. Right? And it says, and pulled down the houses and walls on every side. So, war tactics to see what was going on. Right? But the women and children took their captives and possessed the cattle. Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall. And that's why you have the Wailing Wall today. Right? And mighty towers, and made it stronghold for them. And he put there in a sinful nation. The sinful nation were the Israelites, by the way. Wicked men, and fortified themselves therein. So guess what? There was wicked men that were moved in around this particular region of Jerusalem. They were moved in. And Esau's using these same tactics again today. Same tactics. Let me just move some people into the area. Let me move some witches, warlocks, and those that don't really keep the law. Let me move them in. Same tactics. Right? And they put therein sinful nation, wicked men fought themselves therein. And they stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there. So they became a sore snare. So they also had the shields as well for battle. They were trying to, basically, they were trying to cut them off. Okay, cut off the entries. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it, in so much of the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Key thing. Of Jerusalem. Right? Excuse me just a minute. They laid them snare, and it became a sore snare, for it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, the temple. Right? And it says, Baba Kasha, it was a snare to lay in wait against the sanctuary and an evil adversary to Israel. So it was all positioned a certain way. You're going to move there. I'm going to move you here. I'm going to move you there. I'm going to have you right in front of him. I'm going to have you parked up there. So they were trying to cut off the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
Morning, mate.
A morning. This is what they were doing. And these are war tactics. They were cutting off the inhabitants of Jerusalem from every angle, from every side. So these even shows you tactics in war. And it says, Baba Kasha, and they stored it with armor and victuals. Okay? And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, we already went into that. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side, insomuch the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them. Yeah, they fled away. Okay? Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers. Because our people, they became strangers. That word stranger is gar. So it's that they became strangers. And became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. And her sanctuary was laid waste, like the wilderness. Okay? Her feasts were turned into mourning, and her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. And as it had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased. And her excellence was turned into mourning. Because when you think about Jerusalem, Jerusalem was the place of worship. But they turned it into a sanctuary of what? Defilement. And that's what Esau wants you to do today. Defile yourself. That's what he wants. Okay? And it says, Baba Kasha. Where was I? On verse 38. Verse 40. And as it had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. One people. Right? One. Okay? And everyone should leave his laws. In other words, stop worshipping your power and come do what I'm doing. Right? And it says, right? And in other words, sell out. And that's the same thing that people are doing today. Selling out for a quick buck. Same thing. Nothing is new underneath the sun. You know that, right? Nothing is new underneath the sun. So it's the same thing that's going on again today. Okay? And it says, Baba Kasha, yeah, many also of the Israelites, right? And everyone should leave his laws. So the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, right? And sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. So they joined. They joined and started sacrificing unto idols. This is what happened. And a lot of it was out of fear. Yeah, a lot of it was out of fear. Okay, a lot of it. Right? Was out of fear. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem. Okay? And cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that it should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. Corrupt it. In other words, stop what you're doing. And completely corrupt it. So that's what was happening. On a large scale. Right? Excuse me just a minute. And that's how our people ended up defiling themselves. Right? Amongst the nations. That's how. Okay? And it says, Baba Kasha, I hope you're being edified as well. So we're showing you the same thing that's going on again today. Okay? So where was I? Bear me just a minute. This is heavy stuff. And this is all in the Apocryphas. Right? So even historical accounts is in the scriptures. All these are historical accounts. Right? So let's go to Maccabees 1. We're not done yet. And 46. And pollute the sanctuary and the holy people. So while they were doing these sacrifices, they were polluting themselves, and the sanctuaries were being polluted. Okay? Verse 47. They set up altars. So there was unholy altars that were being set up. And groves. And chapels of idols. And sacrificed swine's flesh. Right? Which was what? Pork. And unclean beasts, animals, that they should also leave the children uncircumcised. So they were doing this on purpose. And make their souls what? Abominable, with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. So this is what they were doing. And by you doing that, you're defiling what? Your power. By making yourself what? Abominable and defiling the temple. So there's two temples. There's a temple which is a physical temple, And there's a spiritual temple, which is your mind. Okay? And that's what they were doing. This is what they were doing. Right? They were defiling the temple. Right? And by them doing that, guess who that pleases? Guess who it's basically? Hold on just a minute. They were pleasing Satan, basically. That's who they were pleasing. Satan. The god of this world. Because that's what you have to do. It's easy. You want to become wealthy? Excuse me just a minute. You want to become wealthy here? What do you have to do? Profane yourself. Okay? And that's it. You want wealth here? All you got to do is just profane yourself. And that's what they were doing. Profaning themselves and the temple. It's easy. Okay? And even when you go into, I don't get into it, but even when you go into Satanism, what do? They just do everything that's opposite of the scriptures, and Satan blesses them. Okay? It's as simple as that. Okay? So this is what our people started to do. And that's why Yahushua jacked up our people. Because they started to walk in the ways of the heathen. Okay? And it says, and to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. Key thing. Change the ordinances. The laws. Okay? And whosoever would not do they were changing the ordinances, the laws, setting new decrees, and whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he should die. Right? So they were taking out those that were not obeying. In the self-same manner wrote he this to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. So they were going by different cities. And this was commanded. He was doing letters. He was writing letters. Right? And sending these letters. This is what was going on. In real time. In real time. And it says, very many of the people, right? Let me get this out again. Ren, key thing, Ren, many, right, of the people, excuse me just a minute, were gathered unto Rem, to wit everyone forsook the law, so they committed evils in the land. Okay? And drove Israelites into secret places, even where so they could flee for protection. Now the 15th day of the month, Caslay, 145th, yeah, they set up an abomination of desolation upon the altar. Pig, swine, and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side. So there was a lot of idolatry, right? Remember, they were trying to corrupt as many souls as possible, right? Build an altar on every single side, every side. Okay? And it says, Baba Kasha, let's put this back up. I hope this is giving you an understanding of what was going on. Alright? And how wicked, oh, that was wicked. A lot of wickedness was going on. A lot. Okay? And it says, Baba Kasha, and burnt incense, right? At the doors of their houses in the streets. Okay? And it says, Baba Kasha, and when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. And that's why so much of our records were done away. When they found the law, the Torah, they were burning the Torah, any Bible, they were burning it. And that's what they want to do again today. They want to outlaw the scriptures, the Holy Bible. But I thought this was a so-called God-fearing nation. No, it's not. And wheresoever was found with any book of the testament of any consented to the law, the king's commandments, that they should be put him to death. And it's going to get to that point soon. Soon it's going to be outlawed to have these Bible in your hand and preaching. Very soon. Thus did they, by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as they found in the city. So, you had certain Israelites that were watching, appointed to watch other men, to report back to what? Esau, and tell them he ain't doing this. Our people are pieces of shit like that, excuse my language. Our people are really low down. Right? They were told to do these things. Give us his whereabouts. Let us know what he's doing, what he's eating. Is he reading the scriptures? And it says, Babakashah. Now, the 5th and 20th month. Am I moving too fast? I'm moving too fast. Verse 59. Now, the 5th and 20th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of the Most High. At which time, according to the commandment, they put certain women that had caused their children to be, circumcised. They didn't want you to practice the law at all. And they hang the infants, little babies, about their necks and rifled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them. How about many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed themselves not to eat any unclean thing? So you had those that were standing up for righteousness. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to eat any unclean thing. We're not going to eat that swine. We're not going to eat that crab. We're not going to eat that lobster. And when you smell pork, it smells horrible. It just smells horrible. Right? So then they died, and there was a very great wrath upon Israel. Right? So they had integrity. Right? So we went into that Babakashah. And basically, when you go into Matthias, Judas, these are righteous men. Right? Righteous men. They were not prophets, but they were righteous men. And you don't need to be a prophet to be saved. Right? All you need to do is what? Have faith in Yahweh Shai. Excuse me. And it says, where was we? Now let's go to 1st Maccabees and go straight to 19. Then Matthias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away everyone from his religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. Right? God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or on the left. Now when they had left speaking these words, okay, there came out one of the Jews in the sight of all the sacrifice on the altar, which was at Muddin, according to the king's commandment. Okay? And it says, Babakashah. Now, when Matthias saw he was inflamed with zeal, and raised trouble, neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment, wherefore he ran and slew upon the altar. Right? Because he saw an Israelite sacrificing upon the altar, so he slain that man. Now, do we promote getting weapons and so forth? No, and that's another thing. These were zealots, by the way. The zealots walked around with daggers as well. Right? And yeah, they did get physical, but again, we don't promote that. Remember, the zealots, they were looking to take down the Roman Empire. We don't promote that because we know Yahweh Shai is going to take down this empire. Okay? Also, the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time. And the altar he pulled down. But did he do a righteous thing? Yes, he did. According to the law, he did. Thus thou zealously for the law of the Most High, like as Phinehas did unto Zambri and what? Salam, in the time of what? The Old Testament. Right? And Matthias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that he ever had in the city. But many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there. So they left the cities and dwelt in the wilderness. It was rough living. Okay? Both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because of the afflictions increased sore upon them. And now when it was told of the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were gone down into secret places into the wilderness, and they pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day. And they said unto them, let they which ye have done hereto suffice, come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and you shall live. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath. Men of integrity. So then they gave them the battle with all speed, and how about they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they had lay hid, but said, let us all die in our innocency. Heaven and earth shall testify for us that they put us to death wrongfully. Great faith. So these were men of faith. Okay. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle to the number of 1,000 people. Now when Maccabees and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore. And one of them said to another, if we do as our brethren have done and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. At the time wherefore they decree, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him. Neither will we die all our brethren that were murdered in secret places. Then came there also unto him a company of the Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such were voluntary, devoted unto the law. Okay. Also, all they that fled from persecution joined themselves unto Rem, and were stayed unto Rem. So they joined their forces and smote sinful men in their anger and wicked men in their wrath, but the rest fled to the heathen for secure. And Maccabees and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars, were these demonic altars that they were setting up, and what children soever they found within the coast of Israel, uncircumcised those they circumcised vehemently. And they pursued also after the proud men, and work prospered in their hand. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles, and out of the hand of the kings. Neither suffered they the sinner to triumph. Now when the time drew near, Maccabees should die, he said unto his sons, now have pride and rebuke God in strength, and the time of destruction, the wrath of indignation. Now therefore, my sons, right, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Right? Call to remembrance the acts of our fathers did in their time, so you shall receive great honor and everlasting name. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Key thing. Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made the Lord of Egypt. Phineas, our father, is being what? Jealous, zealous, and fervent. Right? Obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Yahushua, fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Israel. Caleb for bearing witness. Right? And it says, before the congregation received the heritage of the land, David, being merciful, possessed the throne for an everlasting kingdom. Elias, which was Elijah, for being zealous and fervent for the Lord, was taken up into heaven. Elias never saw death. And who's Elias? Elijah. Right? Ananias, Azarias, and Maaseiah, by believing, were saved out of the flame. Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of the lions. And thus consider you throughout all the ages that none that put their trust in him, who Yahushua, shall be overcome. Fear not then the words of a sinful man, right? For his glory shall be dung and worms. Today he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall not be found, because he shall return into his dust, and his thought shall come to nothing. Wherefore, ye my sons, be valiant, be mighty, and show yourselves men. That's what we got to do. We got to show ourselves as men in the behalf of the law, for by it you shall obtain glory. Now we're going to answer, what really makes you a man? What really makes you a man? Oh, because you got certain people, I just got a car. I got a car leased to me today. Hold on, that car was leased? So first of all, you didn't even buy it. And so what if you did buy it? It was leased to you, right? So you got a car, right? Yeah, you got a house, you got a wife. Oh, no, you're a man, you got children. No, that doesn't make you a man at all, right? You're a construction worker. Oh, I'm a man. No, that doesn't make you a man, right? To be a man means to uphold the ways of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, right? But some people think a man is pushing. Oh, I push 140 kgs. All right, you can just push a bit away. To be a man means to uphold the ways of Yahweh Shai, to uphold righteousness. That's what makes you a man. Even what did King David say to Solomon? Show yourself a man and keep paraphrasing and keep the laws. Keep the laws. That's what makes you a man. So where was we, Baba Kashar? So it says, Baba Kashar, and behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him. Key thing. Right? Let him be your captain and fight the battle of the people. Take also unto all those that observe the law and avenge ye the wrong of your people. Right? Recompense fully the heathen and take heed to the commandments of the law. So he blessed them and was gathered to the fathers. He passed away. He died in 146 years, and his sons buried him in the sepulchres of his fathers at Modin. And all of Israel made great lamentation for him. So again, this shows you of what was going on in the time of the Maccabees and Antiochus Epiphanes. Right? This is what was happening. And what does it do also? It shows us the tactics that are used in war today. These same tactics. Right? What Ptolemy was using. Because these were what? War generals. These were war generals, right? That's what they were. Right? And also, with Judas Maccabees, they had tactics as well. Okay? Bear me just a minute. Still quite early. So now we went to that. That's why we got to show ourselves men. And what? The law is good. The law is good if you're keeping it to the best of your ability. But you still got to have faith. Excuse me just a minute. Yeah, but you still got to have faith. Okay? Still got to have faith. You just got these people walking around like zombies. Mindless zombies. Right? These people, they don't know what to do with themselves. Lost souls. But we're telling you, if you're an Israelite, come back to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. But these people want to walk around like zombies. So again, the Lord gave them over to their own delusions. But anyway, and the law is a good thing. The law ain't bad. Check Psalms 21. Oh, right on it. Psalms 20. Psalms 19, Baba Kashat. And 7. The law of the Lord Yahushua is perfect. There's nothing that's incomplete about the law. It was us. Right? The law is perfect. Because the Most High, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, is not going to create a law that's not for your good. So the law is good. Always has been. Okay? The law is good. Okay? And it says, Baba Kashat, converting the soul, the testimony of the Lord is strong. So it converts. You practice the law. You become a new man. The testimony of the Lord is what? Sure. making the way simple. So yeah, it is sure making the way simple, because we were once simple, but we were made wise by what? Implementing the laws. Because the law is instruction, you do know that, right? Of what to do and what not to do. The statutes, verse 8 of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart, the mind, right? And it says, the commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. So it's pure. There's nothing tainted about it. Enlightening the eyes, the mind. And the fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. So there's nothing wicked about maintaining and upholding the law. It's just that we, by nature, we go off, right? But the law is good. And there's what, more than 613 laws, but there's rarely more. Because when you read Proverbs, all right, Proverbs, that's instructions. When you read Ecclesiasticus, that's instructions on how to deal within life, right? That's what it is, instruction. Okay, but these people, they don't want to be instructed. That's why they're doing the madness that they're doing. Okay. Hey, it's gonna be beautiful when Yahweh lets loose. It's gonna be beautiful, man. And these same people, they're gonna be trying to gather around you. Go to Romans, Baba Kashar. Actually, we go to Galatians. Check it out, Galatians. Because there's plenty of scriptures upon the law. Galatians 3 and 9. Hold on. 19, wherefore men serveth the law, it was added because of transgressions. That's why the law was implemented, because of our transgressions, to keep us in what? So we have boundaries, right? And it says, Baba Kashat, so we can have what? Them boundaries, Baba Kashat. And it says, till the seed should come to whom the promise was made of Israel. And it was ordained by angels into the hand of the mediator, Yahweh Shai. Now a mediator is not a mediator of one, but his power is one. Is the law then against the promises of the Most High? No. God forbid it, for if there had been a law given which could have given life, verily, verily righteousness shall have been by law. Right? But the scripture have concluded all under sin that the promise by faith of Mashiach had been given to them that believe, right? And it says, but faith came when we were kept under the law, right? Shut up unto faith, which should be afterwards revealed, who is what? Yahweh Shai, right? Revealed afterwards, okay? And it says, Baba Kashat, but after that faith is come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster. The schoolmaster is the law. So now Yahweh has came, we no longer need the schoolmaster. It doesn't mean we do away with the law. It doesn't mean we do away with the law. We're not under that schoolmaster anymore, because Yahweh brings us to perfection. So if you have Yahweh, you're going to be practicing the laws anyway. Okay? But after that faith is come, we are no longer under the schoolmaster, which is a tutor, the law. For you are a children of the Most High by faith in Yahweh Mashiach. For as many of you have been baptized into Mashiach, have put on Mashiach, which is the word, true baptism. There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither bond nor free, there is neither male nor female, for ye are one in Mashiach. If you be Mashiach, then you are Abraham's seed, and here's according to the promise. Right? So where was we? But now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differeth nothing from a servant, though he be Lord over all. But is under tutors and governors unto the time appointed of the Father. So Yahweh does set up tutors, yeah, and governors until an appointed time. Okay? Until an appointed time, he sets them tutors and governors. Okay, to watch over your soul, to make sure they're directing you in the right path. Okay. And it says, Baba Kasha, even we were children, were in bondage under the elements of the world. Okay. Going back to what Colossians 3rd chapter. But when the fullness of the time has come, the Most High sendeth forth his Son, made of a woman, Mary, made under the law, to redeem men what were under the law, that might receive the adoption of sons. Because ye are sons, the Most High hath sent forth the Spirit of his Son into your hearts, crying, Abba, Father. Right? Wherefore there are no more a servant but a son, if a son in the hair of the Most High. How about them, when you knew not the Most High? You did service unto them which by nature are no gods. But now after that you have known the Most High, are you rather unknown of the Most High? How you turn against the weak and beggarly elements, the ways of this world. So once you wake up to the truth, we don't want to turn back to the beggarly elements, right? The ways of the world. Whereon you desire again to be in bondage, we don't want to be again in the bondage under the law. We want to be in bondage under Yahweh Shai. You observe days and months and times and years. I am afraid of you, lest I bestowed upon you your labor in vain. Right? The main thing is Yahweh Shai faith. I am afraid of you, lest, hold on, verse 12. Right? Brethren, I beseech you, be as I am. Right? For I am as ye are. You have not injured me at all. You know how through infirmity of the flesh I preached, right, the gospel unto you at first. And my temptation was in my flesh. You despised not, nor rejected, but received me as an angel of the Most High, even Mashiach. Where is then blessedness ye spake of? For I bear you record that if it had been possible, you had plucked out your own eyes and given them to me. Am I therefore become your enemy? Because I tell you the truth. So Paul, to some, Paul became an enemy because he was telling them the truth. Right? And it says, they zealously, right, affect you, but not well. Okay? Yeah, they would exclude you. So, yeah, people want to separate you, exclude you from their company. That you might affect them. That's why they do it, because what you're saying is affecting them. Right? Yeah, get him out of the club. He's not a part of our club. Well, so bloody what? Okay? And it says, Baba Kasha. But it is good to be zealously affected, always in a good thing. If you're affected in the right way, alright? And not only when I am present with you, my little children, of whom I travail in birth again until my shall be formed in you. I desire to be present with you now and to change my voice, for I stand in doubt of you. Tell me, you desire to be under the law? Do you not hear the law? For it is written, Abraham had 2 sons. One by a bondmaid, the other by a free woman. The bondmaid was what? Hagar. Right? Which you had Ishmael come out of, which you have the modern day Arabs today. And you had Sarah, which gave birth to who? Jacob. Okay. Okay. But he who was, hold on, but yeah, Jacob, wait, Jacob, yeah, Jacob, Isaac. Actually, it was Isaac, yeah, Isaac. But he who was born bondwoman, who was born after the flesh, right? But he who was free woman was was by the promise. The free woman was Sarah. The bondwoman was, the bondmaid was Hagar of the flesh. But he was, the bondman was born after the flesh, but he of free woman was by the promise. Right? Key thing. Okay? Which things are allegory, for these are the 2 covenants. And one from Mount Sinai, which genereth to the bondage, which is Hagar. For this is Hagar, it's Mount Sinai in Arabia, you see? And also to Jerusalem, which now is in the bondage with her children. Right? But Jerusalem, key thing. Right? Which is above, is free. Key thing is free, which is the mother of us all. So what's the real motherland? is Jerusalem, not Africa. For it is written, rejoice thou barren, the bearest not, break forth and cry thou travailest not, for the just that have made more children than she which have an husband. Right? Now we, brethren, as Isaac was, and are the children of the promise, right? But as then he had born after the flesh persecuted him, that was born of the spirit, even so it is now. Right? So Isaac was the child of the promise. The covenant, the promise was to Isaac. Right? It wasn't to Ishmael. It was unto Isaac. Right? It wasn't to Ishmael. Ishmael was already living in his palaces, plush. Just look at Ishmael. They're living goods. Just go to Bond. Hey, that's spiritual. Go to Bond Street. Who do you see? Ishmael. Right? Go to these major places in London. Who do you see? Ishmael. Okay? You see these nations. Right? And it says, Babakashah. Nevertheless, what the scripture says, cast out the bondwoman and her son, for the son of the bondwoman shall not be here with the son of the free woman. So then, brethren, we are not children of the bondwoman, but we are the free, through what Yahweh Shai, and what the promises as well. Okay? Bloody hell, how much time do these people have to walk around? Oh my God, baby, just a minute. Hey, these people are ridiculous, man. Baby, they have no life. Right? So we went to that Babakashah. So this is going into the law. And the law is it's a law of faith. We still establish the law to the best of our ability. We don't stop keeping the law. So basic laws you can keep. You may ask, well, where do I start? What law do I keep? Well, you keep a beard on your face. That's an easy law. You don't eat pork. Easy law. These are things we can do. There's no excuses. These are things we can do. I'm sure you can keep a beard on your face, right? Don't commit adultery. Just don't take another man's woman. It's easy. Right? There's plenty of women. Apparently there's more women on earth than men. So there's plenty of women for you. Plenty. Okay? And what's another law? What else? There's so much different laws that we can keep. So much different laws that we can keep. Okay? So we went to that. Also go to Romans. This is Romans 1. And actually, let's go to 2. Okay. And start at 2. Therefore thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judgest. For when thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself, for thou doest the same things. So again, what we exercise what we're teaching. But we are sure that the judgment of the Most High is according to the truth against them which commit such things. And thinkest thou this, O man? Right? So if you're practicing juju, you can't be teaching others not to practice juju. But you're a witch, you're a warlock. Right? But we are sure that the judgment is according to the truth against them that commit such things. Okay? And it says, and thinkest thou this, O man, that judgest them which do such things? Right? You're doing wickedness, but you're telling others not to. Yeah, these people are a bunch of witches and warlocks, but Yahushua going to jack their asses up. Okay? And it says, thou shalt escape the judgment of the Most High. Oh, the despisers. Right? The riches of his goodness. Yeah, a lot of these people, they're all a part of some Masonic fraternity, the lodge, Yeah, they're lodgers. Right? But you being a lodger ain't going to save you. Because Yahushua is still going to destroy your ass. Right? See, they want you to fear them. You're what? Everywhere. Well, hold on a minute. If you were everywhere... Hold on. You wouldn't need to send out all these people if you were just all-knowing. So this shows you they don't really have power. Right? They're just pawns of... Basically, they're just pawns of Satan. They're just doing Satan's bidding. Right? The lowest thing you could do is be a fraternity member. Or masonry. That's the lowest thing you can do. Because Yahushua doesn't reward you. Satan rewards you. Right? And if you don't accomplish your mission, these people get punished. If they don't accomplish their mission, they get punished by Satan. Right? Bunch of dumbasses. And it says, but after the hardest and the impotent heart treasure up unto thyself wrath, and against the day of wrath, and revelation of righteous judgment of the Most High. When will these people learn? It's like they're not learning. Right? They're repetitive. Yeah, they're repetitive. And these people, what they do is a loop. What they do, their whole life is a loop. A loop of madness. The same thing. They don't grow. They do the same thing, but they don't grow. Now, you may say, well, you're doing the same thing. You're just teaching the word and doing this. But there's a difference. We're growing. They're not growing. Their whole life is a repetitive cycle of madness. And you wonder why they're miserable. And who will render every man according to his deeds. To whom be patient and continuance in well-doing. Seek for glory and honor in all immortality, and eternal life. It's getting to that point where, hey bro, that judgment's going to come down. Hey, that judgment's going to come down. When these people get judged, it's going to be like, oh no, this gang stalker got in a crash. Oh, this happened to this gang stalker. That's when people are going to want to start getting serious. But because nothing's really happened yet, they still think it's a joke, but it's not a joke. Right? And the Passover, we just went past that Passover. And you know what happens every Passover? Judgment happens, plays out. You saw all the deaths, you've seen all these deaths, all the things that are happening. But these people, they don't possess the fear of the Lord. They need to, you know what? They need to see it first until they get, now I'm going to get an order. Yeah, they need to see it first. Right? These people are not wise, man. They're not wise. They're wise to do evil. That's what they're wise to do. Evil. Okay? But unto them that are contentious and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation and wrath. So that's what's going to come to those that don't obey the truth. So we don't really get caught up what these other nations do, because it's not, if you're an Edomite, if you're of another nation, it's not for you anyway. It's not for you unless you're an Israelite. So we don't really care about what these individuals do, these fraternities. It doesn't matter, because we know we have the truth. They don't have the truth. That's why they have to try to manipulate. Right? Because they don't have the truth. Because they're living a lie. They've been given over to them delusions. They believe a lie. In Thessalonians, I shall send them strong delusions, that they shall believe a lie. And all those be damned that don't believe in the truth. Alright? So it's just the way it is. Okay? Let me check the time. Okay. Go to Thessalonians, Baba Kashar. This is Thessalonians, Baba Kashar. Really, you know what they want? They want you to join them. They want you to do what they're doing. But that's a horrible life. That's a horrible life. When this individual comes into the town, would you please, would you step out your house, please? Would you step out your house? Would you step out your door? Would you do this? Would you do that? Bro, that's a horrible existence. Would you follow him around? Would you wait until he leaves? Then you leave. That's a horrible existence. That's horrible. So, you know what that shows you? These people are not free. You know when you have people that have their hands behind their back? I know some of the signs. You know when people have their hands behind their back? What is that? What's that a sign of? That's a sign of bondage. So these people, they're telling you they're still in bondage. They're still in mental slavery and physical. Are we somewhat in slavery? Yeah, we're still captivity, but we're free. John 8:32. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. See, these people are getting bored now. See, there's not as many people as there were before. Right? You can only keep this up for so long. And guess what? It's going to be beautiful, because when there's another pandemic, when there's another virus, you ain't going to be able to be outside stalking people. Okay, so all this is going to get put to an end. Okay? Very soon. Okay? So now, let's go to 1 Thessalonians. This is 1 Thessalonians 1 and 7. For the mystery of iniquity. The mystery of iniquity is the mystery of lawlessness. Right? Who's the mystery of iniquity? Esau and the wicked of our people. Lawlessness, right, doth already work, and only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So the wicked doers, they're going to be taken out of the way. Okay? And it says, and then shall the wicked be revealed. And the wicked are being revealed. It's just that not everybody knows who the wicked are in these times. But the wicked are being revealed. Right? In these times. But it's going to be known who the wicked are. Right? Everybody's going to know who the wicked are. Eventually. Okay? And it says, Baba Kashat, and shall destroy at the brightness of his mouth, of his coming. So the wicked are going to be destroyed by the coming of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay? And the wicked are being revealed right now. The wicked are being revealed by what? By their actions. Right? That's what they're being revealed by their actions. Their actions reveal that they're wicked. And they're not the real Jews, they're imposters. Right? They're Israelis. They wish they were us. Right? They were put in that land during the Balfour Declaration. Right? They're imposters. They're gutter rats. Right? Because the scripture says when the true children of Israel are in that land, there'll be no more warfare. So what are they doing in that land? And therefore the Messiah would be in there. Right? So they don't fit the prophecies. Right? And they don't even believe in the scriptures. They even tell you that. They don't believe in so-called Jesus. They believe in the Kabbalah. That's what they believe in, the Kabbalah. What's the Kabbalah? The Kabbalah is esoteric knowledge, witchcraft. That's what the Kabbalah is. The Kabbalah is what black magic is, the equivalent of black magic. They don't believe in the scriptures. Damn hypocrites. Right? And they converted to Judaism under what? King Bulan. Right? Which was a pagan. Right? Which was an Edomite. Right? And the reason why they converted, excuse me just a minute. Ecclesiastes. The reason why they converted, because they were being pressured. They were known as the Khazars at that time, the Khazarian Empire, Turkic Edomites. And they were being pressured by what? I think it was what? The Mongolians, right? From one side. And you had a sect of the Mongolians that believed in Islam, and you had a sect of Christians at that time that were pressuring them. So they were being pressured, so they thought, you know what? What's the best way to get out of this? And they picked a religion. And that religion was known as Judaism. Who's the cleanest people? The Jews. So they made a religion out of our nationality. Because if I say something's greyish, it's not quite grey, it's greyish. Okay? It's not quite grey. It's greyish. If you say something is blackish, that means it's not black, it's blackish. Okay? And therefore they converted because they were being pressurized from both sides. And therefore they were taught the ways of the Jews. Right? And that's it. Right? But guess what? While they were doing that, they had what? They were worshipping different idols. They were phallic worshippers. These people, they were disgusting. It's a fact. We got to get back into that history. They were phallic worshippers. What's a phallic? A rod. Right? They were into sacrificing children. They were doing all these things. Human sacrificing. It's a fact. It's a fact. Excuse me just a minute. And even the elites know that. The elites know who they are. They have their own records. They know they're Esau. Excuse me just a minute. We're going to shut off soon. They know who they are. We are the true Israelites, right? It's just that our nationality was hijacked. That's the only thing. All right, see if I can find it. I'm looking for that scripture where it says, I have seen princes upon horses. Right? The devil's tricks are funny. Really funny. Right? So this is Ecclesiastes. Yeah. Bear with me just a minute. Ecclesiastes. Oh, here it is. Ecclesiastes 10 and 6. Folly is set in great dignity and the rich sit in a low place. We are the rich, right? Because we're rich in faith. These people, they're not rich in faith, right? That's why they have to walk in loops. Their whole life is a loop, right? I have seen servants upon horses. The servants that are upon horses is who? The elites. And horses represents dominion, right? And superiority. So the servants was what? Esau, right? On horses, dominion. And why were these servants? Because the elites, yeah, they know who they are, right? They know who they are. They were known as what? Edomites, Esau, Red, Asashua, wasted away. Is he? Okay? But they came into rulership. They have their own records. Why do you think they called it? Why do you think in Germany, the bankers, they had a red shield? Why do you think they had a red shield? It could have been a blue shield. There's a reason why they had a red shield. Right? Because it goes back to red. They are red, Esau, red. Okay? So they've been giving themselves away. Okay? And princes walk upon servants and princes walking as servants upon the earth. So that's what's happening. You have these princes walking as servants upon the earth. What are the princes? Well, Yasharallah, walking as servants upon this earth. Okay? And it says, he that diggeth a pit shall fall in it. So we see those that are digging pits for us, they're going to fall in that same pit. The same pit you dig for us, you're going to fall in that pit. Right? And whoso breaketh the hedge, and the serpent shall bite him. Okay? Simple as that. Okay? These people are so flipping delusional. Oh man, baby, just a minute. So we went into that. Baba Kashar, excuse me just a minute. We're going to carry on teaching this word. And there's nothing the masses are going to do to stop it. Neither the elites. You're just wasting your time. You're just going around in circles. Looking stupid as hell. All right. And this is the most profitable thing you could do in the world. I just want to let you know that as well. So don't be discouraged. Right? This is the most profitable thing you can do. And it's going to pay off. Right? Everything we're doing is going to pay off in the long run. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Right? Come on now. Remember, your labour's not in vain. So we're a bit all over the place with this lesson, but Lord willing, it was still edifying. Right? Yeah, these people have to try. It's horrible, man, what these people do, but just know this. Just know this. Yahushua going to jack their asses up. Just know that. Right? These people try to infiltrate you. these people try to sabotage you, just know Yahushua going to jack them up. Right? Do you really think you're, and I want to say this as well, do you really think, all right, Yahushua is dealing with you? Do you really think he's just going to let you lose your marbles? Right? Do you really think he's just going to let these people have their way with you? No, he's not. He's going to look after you. And he's going to destroy them. But he's using them to come up against you so he can destroy them. It's simple as that. Okay? It's as simple as that. Okay? So we're going to shut off soon. Let's go to Job. You know? And no matter where you go, you cannot outrun spiritual warfare as well. Spiritual warfare is worldwide, baby. You can't outrun spiritual warfare. This is Job 30. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I have with disdain, to have set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereto the might, the strength of their hands profit me, and whose old age was perished. So even Job said, right, he will not have them around his dogs. That's what he said. He said he would not have them around his dogs. Why? Because what they would do with the dogs. You can't trust Edomites around your dogs. Right? And it's a fact. These Edomites, they sleep with their dogs. And the dog's supposed to be in the yard. The dog ain't supposed to be on your bed. You kissing it. You know? I've said, Edomite, why do Edomite women love doing that? Kissing their dogs on the lips. I've seen that stuff. Nasty. You have these dogs licking your bits. Disgusting. Right? But it feels nice though. Disgusting whore. Right? And even certain places in Europe, bestiality is legalized. This is why this place has to go. Your dog's supposed to stay in a kennel. It's not supposed to be in the bed with you. Right? Yeah, whereto their strength of their hands might profit me, and whose old age was perished. Because they were servants to Job. Job had Edomite servants. King David had Edomite servants. They were our servants one upon a time. Right? And it says, for want and famine, they were solitary. It says, for want and famine, they were solitary. For want and famine. So there was a particular time they were in need. And they were driven out from society. Right? So they would teach you, you were just monkeys hanging around. No, no, no. Even when you go back to the Moors, and we know the Moors were Israelites that were that followed the religion of Islam. That's who the Moors were. In Libya, Morocco, and so forth. But these were Israelites. But they just followed the religion of Islam. They're called Moors. And that word Moors is from Moreno. That's what the Latin called it, Moreno. Alright? And so forth. But these were Israelites. Okay? And there's images of the Moors, right? With slaves. Right? Edomite slaves. Women and men. Right? Try to get them images up. And it says, Baba Kasha, for want of family, they were solitary. They were driven out from society. They won't tell you these. This is in history. And this is in the time of Job, and it also happened before the Renaissance. Why do you think they call it the so-called founding fathers of America? They were driven out. King George I kicked them out of Britain because they were criminals. And a lot of those so-called criminals that are in Britain, where did they go? To Australia. A lot of the British convicts are in Australia today. And a lot of them I just want to say, a lot of them Australians are our people, by the way. A lot of them, not all, a lot of them Australians are our people. Right? It varies. But a lot of them convicts also went to Australia. They were fleeing. They were kicked out. Just a vast history. We're gonna shut off soon. We're gonna shut off soon. And it says, you know, for what and famine are, you know the Masons are getting angry. The Masons, shut up. Shut up, you're speaking too much. No, we're going to speak the words of Yahweh Shai. Right? We're going to speak the words of Yahweh Shai. Right? Okay? Knowledge ain't just here to be just kept to ourselves. It's to what? Proclaim it. Excuse me. For want of family, they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste. They never had much. Alright? Verse 4, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for meat. Right? So they were in a very, very bad state. Okay? They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as a thief, driven away. Get out of this city. So they had to go into the mountains. Mount Petra, that's the first thing. And you have Russia. What do they call it? What do they call it? Russia, Georgia, Russia. In the mountains. They were driven from amongst men. Georgia, Russia. Alright? Into them caves. Right? And it says, Baba Kasha, and were driven from among men, they cried after them as a thief, they were crying. To dwell in the cliffs of the valleys. And when you look up some of these places, they actually look like they actually look like houses. We're gonna get we do videos on this, we get images as well. Type in Mount Petra, type in Mount Seir, type in these regions, type in Georgia, Russia. And it looks like houses. Georgia, Russia. Right? And it says, and to dwell in the cliffs of the valley. So, the modern day valleys and the rocks today are the houses. Okay? It looks just like houses. What is a house? It's just a rock that's just been carved out. That's all. That's all a house is. A modern day house is just rocks that have been carved out. Modern day mountains, modern day caves. Okay? And it says, and among the bushes they brayed. So the Edomites, they were braying. They were braying like donkeys. Right? Okay? And they brayed under the nettles, they were gathered together. Alright, that's spiritual because we got some nettles right here. Right? Excuse me just a minute. You know what? Let's pan this. Pan the camera. Under the nettles. You see that? Under the nettles they brayed, right? So they were under the nettles. That was their refuge. Right, we got to get back into this history because it's vast. It's vast history. Right? And I hope you're being edified. Okay? And it says, I like that song. You know what? I feel like watching that song later on. Virtual Insanity. I like that song. And that's what they're trying to... Look at that song with Jamiroquai. Virtual Insanity. And he's moving all the chairs are moving and all that. That's what he's tries to do. He tries to change your paradigm. But we know the truth. And the truth shall set you free. Okay? I love it. Right? Once you wake up to this truth, you're able to see the deceptions of this world. And guess what? It was always there. It's just that you were given little snippets of it. It was always there. The illusions that they were trying to put in front of you, it was always there, but they were just giving you snippets of it. Right? They were giving you snippets of evil, snippets of delusions, but it was always there. But now you see it. So now they have to turn it up now. They have to try to keep you in that delusion, but you're not in that delusion. You're made free through Yahweh Shai. And that's what I'm here to do. Set the other captives free. Alright? Okay? So we're still on Job 30. And where was we? And 4. Now we went to that, hold on. And 8, they were children of fools. Yeah, children of base men. So these are base men. Those that are ruling over us, they're the lowest of low. These are base men. Base men. And you look at the elites. You know, when I was first told about particular elites and particular banking families, I thought they would look a certain way. You look at them, it just looks like the average. You wouldn't even think they were trillionaires. They just look like the average person the average Joe smoke next door. Because they don't, that's another thing as well. The true elites, they don't have to flaunt their riches. See, when you're a trillionaire, not a billionaire, a trillionaire, you don't have to flaunt your riches. You don't have to flaunt it. See, that's what our people do. They flaunt their stuff. The elites laugh at that. The elites spend more than $1 million within a day. On a day. And that's just on traveling. You know, that's small change. That's chump change to them. $1 million is chump change. Even to the average Edomite that lives in Chelsea or Fulham or Feltham, that's chump change to them. They spend $1 million on going out, going to a 5-star Michelin restaurant, and going to a hotel, right? You know the elites. They have some trousers that they wear that are over 2,000 grand, 2,000, more than that. The food that they eat, it's not the food that we eat. They're not eating the same food that we eat. You think they're going to Tesco's? You think? And the Queen, that's passed on, do you think she was getting her food from Tesco's, Morrison's, Sainsbury's? They don't eat the same food we eat. And the lands that they live in as well, they live in lands that are far from cities. What is it? Waddesdon Manor is one of the Rothschilds' destinations. Waddesdon Manor. They have fresh air. They don't have all these pollutants. They live in goods. They live in, because Job 9:24, baby, just a minute. Job 9:24. We're going to a whole lot of topics today. And people may say, oh, well, nobody's listening. No, people are listening, so don't fall for the rubbish. Job 9:24. I can see clearly now the rain has gone. Let's go to Job 9:24. Let's go. This is Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So one may ask, well, how do they have all this stuff? Because we fell. We went off. And that's how the enemy was able to get up in there. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. So it's given unto what? Satan. Given. That's how they're able to attain all these things. Right? Given into the hands of the wicked. Okay? And it says, Baba Kashar. Where was I? He covereth the face of the judges. This is twofold as well. And we know that he can do that as well. He has enough funding, I always say this, to set up certain men within the truth. He has that funding. Right? To set up certain men within the truth. Right? Get this individual out here, replace him with this individual. A counterfeit prophet. Right? But this also goes into the Renaissance period, when he defaced the images. It was known as iconoclasm, if I'm saying it right. Iconoclasm. Tap, and those of you that are listening on the other side, type in these, type this in. Iconoclasm. Right? Which is the defacing of images. You know, but a lot of the dark arts within the cathedrals and the churches, even within UK, all around the UK, maybe Cornwall, maybe, I don't know, these different places within the UK, when you go into some of these churches, I haven't been into a church for a long time, you have images, and you notice within these images, you have features of dark-skinned individuals, and they have afro, but it looks like whitened. So that whiting was iconoclasm, which the individuals, they would put like a type of ink upon it to make it look, to change the images, to make it look like they were actually pale-skinned. That's what they would do. It was a defacing of the images, which is called iconoclasm, a defacing of our images. Because you know our people, they like to have a lot of pictures. You may have a picture of your family, your son, your daughter, your father. And our images are still everywhere. Our images, we got images in Sweden, we got images in Poland. You go to Russia, you have something called, what's it called? Dark art. Byzantine art. Even in Turkey, they even know that. Go to Turkey, you have something called Byzantine art. Because our people, they ruled the Byzantine Empire. And this is when we were ruling during the Dark Ages. They say, oh, why was it the Dark Ages? Because they were all in ignorance. No, stop lying. Stop lying. It wasn't because they were ignorant and they were dumb, because people were actually more wiser back then than they are now. People are actually getting more dumber. Right? So that dark art was what? The Dark Ages, when we were ruling. Right? And it says, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, he covereth the face of the judges. Our faces, because we are the true judges. Whereof, if not, where and who is he? And even in the court system today, what do they do? What does the judge do? A judge has to put on a white woolly wig. Where do they get that from? Because they know the Messiah has an afro. Why, out of all the things, why do they have to put on a white woolly wig? I don't know if they still do that. They put on a white woolly wig. Woolly wig. Revelations 1:10 or 12. White woolly hair. All over. Right? So this is what they do. It all goes back. They know who we are. The elites know who. They have our records. The elites have all the records, and they have all the records of who we are as a nation, including the churches, the Pope. They had records as well. Who our people are. Okay, they've been studying our people for years, and it's deep. They know who you were even before who you knew. They knew who you were even before you knew who you were. Because before you were born, they already had your records. They knew. But you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So did I go into that? He covereth the face of the judges thereof, if not, where and who is he? So people are still guessing, man, who is the wicked? The wicked are Edomites. Esau, Edom. They're the wicked that the Bible speaks of. All throughout the scriptures. That's going back to Genesis as well. Remember, you had two sons. You had Jacob, you had Esau. Jacob is the progenitor of the 12 tribes, right? Which you've got on this side. 12 tribes of Israel, right? And they gave birth to what? The tribes. And you had Esau, but Esau never gave birth to the tribes. Esau was our brother, but he was a wicked brother that came up with no pigmentation, right? He's our wicked brother, and he's still warring against us. He's slandering us, right? It's a battle. Oh, okay. I think, should I go into it? Should I go into it? You know, might as well go into this. Bring it out, bring it out, bring it out, bring it out. Genesis, go to Genesis 3:15. This was during the time of the Garden of Eden. Genesis 3:15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. And when you go to Revelation, it said the dragon went after the woman. The woman was Israel, right? So it says that. And between thy seed and her seed. So when it says thy seed and her seed, these are two different seeds. The serpent seed and Israel's seed. It shall bruise thy head and shall bruise his heel. So that was that fighting in the womb. Two nations were fighting in the womb. That's why it says it shall bruise his heel and thy head. That's why it says that. Right? That's what was going to happen, because they were fighting in the womb. So the so-called Negroes and the tribes have been fighting with Esau in the womb. There's been a battle in the womb. Okay? And it says, it's spiritual as well, because as I'm saying this, two individuals just walk past, hairy, pale, red, but you know, they might, you know, you never know. They could be Jake, you don't know, right? But they had that same complexion as Esau. The space, by the way, this ain't a color thing, by the way. Okay. So now let's go to Genesis 25 now. That war that was within the womb. Before this shuts off, because I know this is going to shut off soon. Genesis 25, and jump straight to verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord, Yahweh Yahushai, for his wife, because she was barren, right? And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. Okay. And the children struggled together. So again, when it says went to inquire, she went to inquire of a prophet. Okay. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. She wanted to know what was all this tantrum about in her womb. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. 2 manner of people were going to be separated from thy bowels, from that womb. Okay? Then 1 people shall be stronger than the other. And you already know who's stronger than the other. That's you tribes. Stronger than the Edomites. Edomites, their bones break easy. And the elder shall serve the younger. Who came up first? Esau. So it means Esau was going to serve us in the kingdom to come. So he's ruling now. That's why the scripture says the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. And when her days were to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. They were twins, but one still looked different. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Right? Esau. Right? All over like a hairy garment. Right? So, red, right, complexion, and came out hairy like a garment. And after came out his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. So it says the hand took hold on Esau's heel. And it says his feet shall bruise his head, because they were kicking. They were fighting in the room. And his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 3 score years old, and she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was cunning hunter and a man of the fields. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. 2 different characteristics. And Esau likes to go for that trophy hunting. When he hunts, I forgot what's the name of it. When he hunts animals. And he likes to frame it. That's his nature. Right? He's a man of the fields. But Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Content. Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And when you further read on the chapter, it goes into Esau being tricked out of his birthright. So Esau's hurt because he lost his birthright. He lost his birthright. Right? And he ain't going to get it back again. Right? He was tricked. He was supplanted by Jacob. What does Jacob mean, supplanter? Right? So, with this, I hope this was edifying. A whole load of information came out. And one thing I will say is keep on pushing. You are definitely worth, if you have talents, use them talents. And because you have talents, you're not useless. If you have talents, how could you be useless? You're of use to the Heavenly Father and His Son. You're useless to this world because the world has no need of you because the world's wicked. When really Yahushua's looking at them like they're useless, they're pieces of shit. Right? Use them talents to wake up other souls because the devil doesn't want that. And the devil's going to tell you you're everything that you're not. Yahushua ain't going to do that. He's going to tell you everything you are and more and what you can do. So with this, I hope this was edifying. And until the next time, stay strong. Until you brothers out there, give it your all. Shalom.